Welcome to Real Grief, Real Healing with Mindy Corcoran. I am your host, Mindy. A friend of mine told me in early 2018 that she saw a vision of me with a microphone in front of me. I laughed at the time and said, "I don't see any microphones in my future." Less than a year later, I was recording my first podcast on this show. I'm not going to say, "I hope you enjoy this podcast." My podcast is not truly meant to be enjoyed. Real grief, real healing is just that, real and raw. I provide you an opportunity to learn and share in the grief others are experiencing, and then we share how they are healing or perhaps not. Grief changes each of us in some way. Many of my guests have been encouraged to open new businesses, start foundations, and in general, work to make the world around us a better place. Grief is universal. How we decide to move onward, seeking healing, is individual. A significant part of my healing comes through the courageous kindness actions of others. As you listen to my podcasts, you will hear how you can give and receive courageous kindness too. Together, we are better.
Welcome to Real Grief, Real Healing with Mindy Corcoran, taking a deep dive into the reality of the difficulty grief brings and offering insight into the healing available to each of us. Today, Episode 2, Disabled But Not Really, with special guest Wesley Hamilton. And now your host, Mindy Corcoran.
Hi, Wes. It's Mindy. Thanks for joining me.
Well, thank you for having me.
So this is our second time to meet. That last time we met, I was in your gym, and I was there with Alana Mueller, and we wanted to meet you because we were asking you to be our speaker for 7 days, Make a Ripple, Change the World. Do you remember meeting me?
I do remember. See, now it's coming all together. Okay.
Yes, that's okay. You meet a lot of people because you're famous now.
Oh, man, I'm still humbling myself by those words.
I know you are. So I was introduced to you by a friend who saw you on Queer Eye. And so then I watched the show, and then we decided to make that ask of you. And I'm super excited. You are my first guest on Real Grief, Real Healing podcast. I literally just started this, and you're my first guest. And I'm excited to have you on. But it also, I'm hoping, will be good for you and for the promotion of 7 Days Make a Ripple, Change the World, because on April 23rd, you're going to be speaking with me at the Church of the Resurrection in Leawood, Kansas.
Oh, and isn't that exciting, right? I'm happy for it.
Thank you. So, Wes, let's get into real grief first. And I definitely am going to give you an opportunity to talk about your healing process. That's very important. But my goal for my podcast is to share with people what happens sometimes, what is real and what is painful that we brush under the door and try to get through. So I would like you to go straight into your story that put you here on not only this podcast, but so many other interviews and on the Queer Eye.
Yeah, perfect. 8 years ago this month, actually, I was shot multiple times, which resulted in me having a spinal cord injury. For your listeners that might not be aware, I am paralyzed from the waist down, with little to no luck of having motor function again. And because of that, it became a real troubling journey that had some type of victory at the end, right? So that's the best way I could put it, is just that me being shot ultimately helped me find who I am today. And that is why we are where we are.
Mm-hmm. So let's go back to that day and that night. And I know bits and pieces of it. It's not my
You want me
story. It's
want me to walk
yours.
you through it?
Yes, I do.
Cool. I'll roll you through it. How about that? That's
Yeah,
my
you roll
way.
me through it.
All right, cool. Uh, so that was actually so it was my birthday weekend that I happened to uh, get this injury. Uh January 14th to be exact. I was going over to visit an ex-girlfriend of mine, and we had a verbal altercation. This The reason why I was going was basically personal. It was a reason that I felt to go, and it led to, you know what, Mindy. Let me take that back. Let me give you a better way of putting it. So,
It's your story.
um, let me give more for the listeners, right? All right, I'll go in depth. So January 14th, 2012, I was going to go visit my ex-girlfriend. She had just let me know maybe a few weeks prior that she was pregnant. And I am a single father to a beautiful 10-year-old little girl as of today. But at that time, I had just got sole custody of my daughter, who was 2 at the time. So to know that I was going to potentially have another child come into this world with someone that I wasn't with anymore, I did want to have a conversation. And that was my intent going over there. But I had a lot of pride. So I didn't notify anybody before I came over. I just popped up, thought that I had that entitlement. And when I showed up, I was witnessing my ex girlfriend go in the house with a male friend. Me and that male friend never had a conversation at all. But me and my ex girlfriend did. And it was a altercation that ultimately led to the person inside the house um, calling a friend or family member to come and basically guide him out that door. Um, I can't say what he was thinking, but just from my own perspective, it probably did seem like an iffy situation to just kind of walk out the house when the girl you with, ex-boyfriend, pops up. So, um, the altercation led to, as I put it, 30 minutes. I was there for about 30 minutes. So I had every reason to leave, but I didn't. And me not leaving, my actions and emotions led to this person pulling up and shooting me within maybe minutes of his arrival due to the energy that was placed at that scene.
Mm. I can hear you say, without saying it, I shouldn't have stayed there 30 minutes.
I that's where the accountability factor comes in, and I know we'd go more in depth of like how this ended, right, and became such a powerful message. But yeah, I shouldn't have been there. I witnessed them going into the house before I even exited my vehicle. That should have been the sign to turn around.
So I want to go even a little further into the bullets ring out. You feel them. You're hit. You're shot. Had you ever been shot before?
No, I had never been shot before, but I do come from a background where shootings are something of a regular nature, and so hearing gunshots wasn't something that startled me. Feeling the bullet pierce my body wasn't something that startled me because in reality, I didn't feel it hit me. My body just reacted to it. I can say that the first time, so I was shot twice. So the first time that I was shot, my body just went into shock and it made me kind of turn toward that sound. And I really had a puzzled look on my face, like, "Oh, what is going on?" And then when I was able to turn and focus on the person that shot me, um, I had at that point I was witnessing them um, shooting me again. And so, yeah, so I seen the flash of the gun for the second shot and my body collapsed. That was the moment of me actually being paralyzed. I was not paralyzed from the first shot, I was paralyzed from the second one. And I remember my body hitting the ground, and it still felt like my legs were sticking up in the air. And it was a lot of chaos. It was we were in an apartment complex, so it was a lot of people that were either outside or just came outside due to the situation at hand. And yeah, I just remember the process of it. It felt like a movie. How you would have so many people kind of hovering over your body, trying to hold the areas that they see the blood coming out. Complete panic. It was 2012, so cell phones wasn't the best quality. So luckily, I wasn't on social media, But um, so I actually had people that were surrounded around me, actually trying to help and not document. So yeah, but I just remember me instantly knowing that I was going to die. I didn't think that there was a way out of it. I'd never, I mean, again, I'm so used to violence. I'm used to violence that, um, knowing and having knowledge of people who've been shot maybe once and died really didn't give me the ability to believe that I was going to live through that situation.
Wow. So to me, that I hear you say you were shocked. You had a lot of shock right then, but while you're laying there, you just thought, "I'm gonna die. This is it."
Yeah, I laying there knowing that I was gonna die, I had all these regrets because I had just got sole custody of my daughter. So it was really like a lot of like, man, like I'm not gonna be able to see her. Like, why? It was hate. It was hate for the man upstairs. Like, why are you doing this to me? Like, why is this happening to me? Um, it was a lot of mixed feelings, but none of them were positive. Like, yeah, it should have happened to me, right? Like, no, it was a lot of regrets because at that point I just knew I was going to die. I didn't see no life after that.
When you said you had anger and hate, and you were maybe angry at the man upstairs, you're not talking about somebody in an apartment complex. You're saying you were angry at God right then.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, very much so. I because it happened so sudden
Hmm.
that it just felt like it wasn't supposed to happen, and I was at a point where I wasn't even going to be able to live to understand why it happened.
When did you wake up from that piece? And I don't even know that you went to sleep, but so when did you emotionally wake up from whatever happened at the hospital, etc., and you realized I'm alive and I can't use my legs?
So what it was such a process. So let me take you back to the scene, okay? I remember um being approached. My best friend was actually there the day I was shot. And I remember being approached by my best friend, and he's sitting there, and we're having this conversation about me dying. And I'm just like, bro, I'm not gonna be here no more. And he's like, yeah, that's true. You're about to die. Like, we really just believed it was the reality just from the life that we have lived. And I just, you remember, if you can recall, when I was shot, I said it felt like my legs were still sticking up. So I told my best friend to put my legs down, and he told me they were already down. And when he told me they were already down, I didn't think I was paralyzed. I thought I was on the way to death. Like, I was like, oh my God, I'm about to die. It's really about to happen. Like, I can't, like, if my legs, I thought they were up, they're down. Like, oh man, my mind, it was a lot that went through at that moment. So the ambulance came, they put me in, went to the hospital. And I remember just looking at the doctor when he asked me what my name was, and I just told him to help me. And my eyes closed, and I woke up. I woke up in ICU. Didn't know I was in ICU at that point, at that moment, but I had a tube down my throat, and all I could see was my family. And just reaction, trying to pull the tube out, So I'm trying to get the tube out my throat. They come in and they, give me a little bit more meds, and I go right back to sleep. So the ICU process was due to me catching pneumonia while I was in the hospital. And so that was maybe a 2 to 3 week process where I had no knowledge. And because I had so much going on, they kept putting me under, they kept putting me to sleep for the best way to put it. And so I would say about 4 weeks, 3, 4 weeks before I actually had knowledge. Of course, I knew I was alive at the point of waking up in ICU, but it took a lot longer for me to understand that my legs weren't going to move anymore.
What were those feelings? Your legs aren't gonna move anymore.
So the process that they were going through with the therapists and doctors coming in really just put me in denial. Um, I didn't I didn't think that I was going to be like without mobility the rest of my life. I had these hopes of that one story that you heard about that guy that legs didn't work and went back to walking maybe after a couple weeks. Like those were my hopes, and I think it all came from just denial. It wasn't like let me push myself to get back to walking. It was more or less like if I lay here for a couple more weeks, maybe my legs will start working. So that was the pressure for me. Which led to a longer journey of depression was because I didn't accept. I didn't accept.
Tell me about depression. So I just want you to know I didn't know about depression until my dad and son were murdered, and now I understand depression. So, but there may be some listeners who don't realize that other people like you and me have depression, and what it feels like. So tell me about your depression.
A lot of my depression I think came at the beginning from just feeling different. I knew I was different. I knew I looked different. And I knew I had to get back into society and be Wesley. And there was no way that I could be Wesley when I don't even feel like him. And I think that really put me in a lot of depression because I was n- I was worried about how I was going to be accepted. And so I think I allowed myself to be rejected before I even was rejected from society. And it was just due to me not feeling the same. I was not normal anymore. Like my depression just came from that. I I have this thing where I tell people I wanted to be loved when I didn't love myself. And at this point, I didn't love myself. I probably realized never really loved myself in life. But this point was like a lot of self hate. That depression came from a lot of self hate, of just thoughts. Really, I was defeated by my own thoughts, and my thoughts put me into depression, and that made me not want to be around nobody, antisocial. It brought a lot of negativity into my space and within the people that were around me. So, and that I would say my depression journey was at least 3 years, after post injury.
So the depression that you're explaining and I'm hearing you say is that you had a realization that maybe you had never liked yourself. You had not loved yourself maybe the way that you should have even before the shooting. Did I hear you correctly?
You did hear me correctly because I never found myself till I was paralyzed, right? Like, and so it wasn't that I found and took control and accepted me being paralyzed. No, I took control and accepted who Wesley Hamilton really is. And I never was able to accept who I was, even like as I grew up, because I was in a culture where there weren't many leaders or mentors or anything of that sort. And I grew up in a fatherless home as well. I never had guidance. So I was always seeking that type of guidance or to try to fit in the best way possible. And because I was paralyzed, I couldn't fit in. right? Like I was different from everybody else. And that lack of acceptance of being different when I was always trying to fit in is what really became my ultimate defeat.
So, right now, when sadness and depression show up for you, because I'm assuming that they come and go. I mean, I, I I'm just going to make that assumption. You can tell me if I'm wrong, but if they show up, how do you get rid of them now?
Uh, I've realized now that I have a choice to be happy. I can choose to be happy or I can choose to be negative. I can Everything in life is a choice. And with my healing and the process that I've been on, I've come to realize that my my inner peace, it matters. And so when situations come about where it becomes overwhelming, that can lead into a depression stage or um, any of that sort, I think I just go right back to how should I react to it? And I allow my reaction to always be positive and mindful. Um, and just really the awareness of that today is bad, but tomorrow is going to be better. So you don't wake up with the same issues that you went to sleep with. So I think there's a lot of it is mindset and a lot of building my mindset to Wesley, you want to be happy. And that's what I choose to do. Oh, in the gym. So a gym really helps me too. That's my therapy. I don't like talking to people as much, but the gym can really help me like solve a lot of my problems.
Yeah, so I know your story, and that's why I led you from what happened with the shooting, and then through depression, and then what you do now when you get out of depression, because I knew that that's who you are now. I know who you are now. But I want to know who helped you. What one person or two people or 10 people, when did the switch flip for you to go from that 3 years of hating yourself and hating being different to, okay, I'm going to be positive? So what flipped the switch for you?
That's a good question. So from the whole time since I was injured, I had one of my good friends was always by my side. I call her Kino, and Kino would really okay. The best way I could put it is that when you have so much hate built inside, and there's no way that anyone can change you, right? Like no one can talk to you and tell you to change. All they can do is be by you, by your side, and give you all the love that they want to give you, so you can feel it, right? And that's what I had as Kino. Like she was a great friend that assisted me in the process of loving myself by ultimately always showing love and compassion even through the hard times. And it gave me the ability to realize that that was a choice. And I could be in self pity every day. But if I am literally sitting here hating myself and I have someone still showing me what love looks like, what love, being by my side. And of course, it was only a friendship, but it led into her becoming even my daughter's godmom because of just her effort and wanting to be there to assist and take some of the hard things off of me because I still had custody. And with that, it gave me the ability to now see my daughter as my true strength. And because at first I was trying to avoid my child because I didn't want my daughter to see me. But then I started to see like, despite what I was going through, I had another life, that was watching me every day, and it became bigger than me. My pain didn't matter as much as me trying to show my daughter how to overcome pain. Like my depression didn't matter if I could show my daughter how to be happy. Like, and so from the effect of Kino showing me what love and compassion look like, it gave me the ability to now pull it out of my daughter the way that she was trying to deliver it. And I started to receive it, and it empowered me to take control of my life and start to do things that I would have never imagined me doing.
That's a great answer and great segue into what are you doing now? I know you help a lot of other people. Uh, why do you help other people, and when did the gym start happening? When did the gym come into your life? And then tell everyone how you help other people and really why you help other people.
Oh yeah, for sure. So after my first year, I like my timeline. My timeline is like the awesomest timeline for me anyway. So I was shot January 2012. I had went through health complications that led to me being on bed rest for 2 years. Those 2 years were really detrimental to like everything. That's where the depression really stuck in. Well, within that 2 years, I had six surgeries. My last surgery was January of 2015. In between those surgeries, the doctor told me that the only way I could heal my body was nutrition. And if your listeners do not know, I had been overweight my whole entire life. And so I didn't have no idea of nutrition. I didn't know what it was. And so when he used the term protein, it sounded like a foreign language. And so, but I took control. I went to school and took up a dietitian course. And that dietitian course taught me things that I never knew about nutrition. And by January of 2015, when I hopped on the hospital bed, I was 100 pounds lighter.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
I had never lost weight, even when I was walking. So it literally shifted the way I thought about my whole injury. But what it did was, so I had 6 weeks to heal. It empowered me to now share the knowledge that I had learned that changed the trajectory of what my circumstances was going to be to now help other people. And I started my nonprofit in a hospital bed, Disabled But Not Really Foundation. So I started the nonprofit in a hospital bed after I found out that I had lost all this weight. And I just wanted people to be more active and healthy, people with disabilities, to be in particular. And I didn't know how I was going to do that. So for the next 2 years, I went out and I became this award-winning adaptive athlete. I got a gym membership. I started working out. I loved it. And next thing you know, you found me competing in bodybuilding and CrossFit nationwide. And that was the moment that was the pivotal moment of like how my organization actually grew.
That is a fantastic way to heal. I mean, people probably say, "Oh, that's a fantastic story," but it wasn't a story, it's real, it's your life. And that's what you live every day right now, right? You live at your gym and your Disabled But Not Really Foundation.
Yes. Yes, I live it. I live it, I breathe it, I eat it, all of it.
And you love it. How can we help you? How can other people help you and other people that are disabled? What would you like us to know?
Oh man, helping me would be to not allow your struggle to be your identity and find a way to take control. And if you need assistance in taking control, then Disabled But Not Really is the platform for you. Reach out to us, ask us, for whatever assistance and guidance that we can help you with. If you're just someone that needs to be around this type of energy, then come and be a volunteer and come and assist us in our amazing projects that we do all throughout the year. And if you just want to help us grow, then you can also contribute financially. You can go to disabledbutnotreally.org, and all of the information of all of our programs are on there. And it will actually allow you to see a visual of the impact that you can help us create and grow.
So Wes, I want to thank you so much. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your energy, your effort. Thanks to Kino and to your daughter for helping you make that change and making that turn into passion. I will see you in person on April 23rd, if not before, at the Others Day event for 7 Days Make a Ripple Change the World. You have a wonderful evening. Thanks so much.
Oh, well, thank you for this opportunity. And I truly, truly Appreciate your energy as well. Just go Chiefs, right?
Go
There we
Chiefs.
go. And please have a great one. I will see you guys soon.
Take care. Friends, thanks so much for joining me today for this podcast of Real Grief, Real Healing with Mindy Corcoran. If you want to dive deeper into how you might heal yourself or a friend, please pick up a copy of my book, Healing a Shattered Soul. Published on May 3rd, 2021, you can find my memoir anywhere books are sold. You will also find me in social media channels as Mindy Corcoran. Take time to help yourself heal, accepting courageous kindness. Take time to heal another by giving courageous kindness. Together, we are better.
Real Grief, Real Healing is copyright 2021 to 2022, Mindy Corcoran, all rights reserved. Our theme music is composed by Dave Croft and used with permission. This podcast is a production of 818 Studios.